Hello friends, welcome back. Welcome to the Career Conversation series. Through this series, I have been sharing my mentoring counseling experiences with my mentees, students, parents, and all that who are involved in those conversations. And thank you for your encouragement so far. And I hope these experiences are adding value to your thought process, adding value to your perception. Well, I've come back with another interesting experience. Recently, I was doing a career workshop, parent orientation career workshop, which is like a parent orientation, and the objective of this parent workshop is basically to create awareness about career guidance and planning. Right. Well, there were about 500 parents who gathered along with their children, and they were attending. This is one of the reputed school in Bangalore, I must say that. There are about 500 parents on Saturday morning. They've gathered, and it's a full house. And I've done my presentation for about 40 minutes, and eventually we had about good 30 minutes of question and answers. Right. The objective of this session is to raise that career guidance and planning awareness. How important is it? So part of my talk, I had to make them aware that how do you plan a career? How do you get guidance? What are the best sources to seek guidance, and how do you plan a career? Then I had to give some reference. Typically, when we plan a career, when we have heard and done this many a times by now. If you're doing well, if a child is doing well in maths, then the child will go and choose maths, physics, chemistry, PCM or MPC as a stream, which will eventually lead the child to an engineering, and which is like an aspiring to join an IIT or NIT or BITS Filani, basically aspiring to crack that JEE kind of path. That's a traditional way of guiding a child. That's an orthodox way of guiding a child, which is proven to be good for many of them, but not necessarily for all of them. And another contrast is basically if the child is doing well with biology or interested more with biology, then you let the child pick up biology, physics, chemistry, or physics, chemistry, biology, whatever that is, biology group or a stream, and eventually the path for that child would be cracking NEET and becoming a doctor. Isn't it? Or unlikely, the child may get into some biology-based career, but everybody aspire to be cracking NEET exam, qualifying for NEET and securing a medicine seat. So this is how the guidance has been. To a larger extent, most parents and students would follow that path, which is okay to some extent. But what about the personality of the child? What about the abilities of the child? What about the interests of the child? Have we ever thought about these three parameters, and why are we only limiting ourselves only to the academic excellence in a specific subject, academic interest in a specific subject? So this is how the conversation went on. I was trying to emphasize the importance of the personality of the child, the abilities, the aptitude of the child, and the interest of the child. On top of which you can take into consideration how the child is doing in a specific subject in academics. That could be one of the parameter. The academic scoring in a specific subject can only be one of those parameters to make a career choice, but not necessarily the only parameter which will decide a career choice for the child. This is the point I was driving, and that is how I have been practicing my mentoring journey ever since for the last 4.5-5 years. Right, and everybody understood and realized the importance of how which should be taken this way, not limiting our thoughts only based on an academic score. Of course, the academic score is also important because that is one of the key parameters that will decide on which college, which university the child is going to get it, because competition is intense, isn't it? So this is how this went, and part of it, how do we find the personality of the child? How do we know what is the abilities and aptitude that the child possesses? And what are those interests that the child possesses? Maybe to a certain extent we can find out the interest based on the activities the child is involved in. But how do we gauge the personality? How do we gauge the ability and aptitude of the child? For which I was referring to the psychometric assessments as a tools to find answers to these questions. And it is not overnight. You can't do an assessment and then fix upon something. right? As the child gets to about 14 plus years of age, it is an appropriate age to find out what is the personality of the child. And over the lines, you can also figure out the aptitude and abilities and the interests of the child. And you could take that as a source of information in making a career choice, in putting that career aspiration, deciding on your destination, career destination. And this cannot happen overnight. It has to go through over a period of time, right? And at the same time, the child has to spend a lot of time, say about 2 to 4 hours in a given week, in understanding what are the various careers that are available, and not limiting the thoughts only to engineering and medicine. What is the career landscape? What is the work landscape? How is the world of work changing? What are the various careers that are available? What careers are fading away? What are the careers which are futuristic? Which are the careers that are trending? And what are those so-called careers which are contemporary? So some on those lines, the child has to be aware of all these parameters. So the best way to do is at least a week alongside of your academic journey, at least 2 to 4 hours a week, spend research about 2 or 3 careers in a week and gain understanding. What is this career all about? What are the prospects? Who's going to hire you? What are the business propositions? What are the business opportunities? What are the entrepreneurial opportunities? What are the freelancing opportunities in this career? How much am I going to make money? And is it resonating with my thought process, with my interests? Right? And who are those some of the famous people and so on? So this is a level of research that the child, and which college is offering this course, whether it is in India, outside India, in your hometown, in your home city, or across India. That's a level of information. And how much does it cost for you to complete this academic path? Of course, once you decide upon your career destination. So I've been explaining. So there are various touch points, and you can't decide just by having a 30-minute conversation. You can't set some target or a career goal or as a career destination for somebody in just one sitting, in one session about 30-40 minutes or 1 hour. It is over the years. So I was also emphasizing the importance of empowering the child and enabling the child right from 8th grade onwards, if not earlier. Encourage your child, I'm just talking to parents, encourage your child right from 8th grade onwards to do research about various careers. And towards that 8th and 9th grade, let the child do as much research as possible about various careers. And as the child gets close to 10th grade or just gets into 10th grade, and it's a time for the child to take direction. It's time for the child to take path, to embark on a path. Because after 10th, you will have to choose your stream. You have to choose your group in your plus 2 or intermediate. So as early as 10th grade, you should be able to sort out all of those. But overnight, if you're trying to do that, appears to be a little bit of challenge. You have not done your research, you have not done your groundwork. So this is the context. The reason why am I explaining all this is indirectly there's a benefit to my viewers and listeners in understanding how a career is planned. Well, now with that context of about a 40-minute talk to the parents, one parent stood up and asked this question. Sir, it looks like this all sounds really, great, reasonably good, that this is a right approach rather than choosing it based on only marks. But my question is, this seems to be a lengthy process, a long process. Making a right career choice is a long process. Can't we fast track this? Why do the child have to spend so much in understanding about various careers and then preparing him or herself towards that career destination? Why can't it be fast tracked? Why can't it be like a you put on a switch and it is your fan is on, right? Something like that. Then I kind of paused for a moment and asked, for everything there's a course that you need to go through. Like if you have to give birth to a baby, just because you got married and you are very keen to get conceived, and you want to have a baby, it cannot happen overnight, isn't it? So there's a process of about 10 months that you need to sail through in order for you to deliver a healthy a baby. isn't it? There's a process, right? So there is a system or a structure in place that you can't get a post graduation or a doctorate overnight. There is an eligibility entry, you have to choose on a path. So there's a course through which you have to pass through. There's a journey that you have to embark in, right? It cannot happen overnight. So likewise, career also, if you are expecting to fast track something, it is somebody else's opinion, which is not necessarily an unbiased opinion. It is somebody else's preference. It is somebody else's likeliness, which is being imposed on the child or being given as an advice to you, but not necessarily the child's, his or her own experience. So, my friends, the point I'm trying to drive with all that explanation from this experience is basically, you can't fast track your research, you can't fast track your experience, you can't fast track the decision. For a simple reason, the child, by him or herself, going through that process of researching about various careers and understanding, and then at that certain point making that judgment, taking that path very judiciously with a primary option, secondary option, and a fallback option. That makes it foolproof. Otherwise, you never did any groundwork, and since everybody wanted to become a doctor and you went on that path, later you realize you didn't qualify for it and you are not prepared enough to take on a secondary path or on a fallback. You have never planned for it. You have no idea what are other careers that are available for a biology student other than medicine. Then what is the point? And same goes with engineering. I'm not saying the point is not here engineering and medicine are not good. They're good. If they're good for the individual, they have to go after it. But what about other careers? So you can't fast track these things unless you plan it ahead of times. Maybe you could fast track certain milestones in the process. So for example, if you are aspiring to do your undergraduation outside India, after your 12th grade, you want to do outside India. Over the years, for the last, right from your 9, 10, 11, 12 grades onwards, you have to put up a good profile, holistic development for a child. There are a lot of parameters. We call that as a profile building or a CV building is largely it is called as. Right? So the marks are not going to only decide there. There's a lot of other aspects that come into play. So the point here, the essence of this experience is basically the parents' expectation is can't be fast track making those decisions or gaining that experience. It is not possible because the child has to experience it alongside of the academics. The child start doing this work parallelly of towards a goal of making a right career choice over the years. So the journey starts at 8th grade onwards, if not earlier than that. It can go until 9th grade, and then if they could figure that out in say about 3 months, 6 months time, that is fair enough, because most of the time the interest or the influence or the peer pressure plays a crucial role, which will blindslide the personality or the aptitude and abilities of the child. So which is very scary if they don't get to a right choice. And a right time, you need to engage an expert if you are not confident. In most cases, it is advised to you engage an expert for you to get this guidance. Don't expect it to be overnight, because every aspect in our life will have its own course to get on. There may be one or very little percentage of exceptional individuals who might do this, or they would have figured it very early in their lives, in their about their careers. They may be an exception, sir. Maybe you could count them, a very little percentage of them. But majority of us largely have to experience the research process of understanding various careers and going through these assessments. So that would make sure that we are making an informed career decision. Don't try to fast track it. I know, our lives have become fast track because the technology has been advancing us, in actually pushing us to be, fast enough day after day. In many facets of our life. But career decision is a decision for our life, my friends. Don't do, an uninformed career decision. Don't make an uninformed career decision just because you want to make it fast. Right? So I hope that experience resonates. It adds value to your thought process, and it gives some able to let you perceive in your own way. And thank you for watching and listening to these career conversations episodes. As always, thank you for your encouragement, and sometime soon I'll come back with another experience. Until then, do take care. Thank you.